Thank you, Professor, for joining us today. So we're taking some time today with Professor Miskiewicz to talk about what has the attention today in the African markets. And I will start the first question by asking you, when it comes to investing in African mining, what does have your attention?
Probably it's a broad question, so I cannot say what does mean in investing in Africa. Is a huge continent and so many different fantastic countries with different resources. I would like to stick probably to Rwanda, why we decided to go to Rwanda and invest in Rwanda. Of course, the first two, I would say, main reasons. First, we have been attracted by a representative of Angali Mining during one of the conferences. And the gentleman that time, he held the position of CEO of Angali Mining, Dr. Ivan, who actually was a very good advocate of what's going in Rwanda. But of course, it actually matched with what we have learned about Rwanda, what we have heard about Rwanda. We liked a lot the medium and long-term program in Rwanda in order to develop mining sector and to catch this value added in Rwanda. And this is exactly what we'll be looking at since we're more in we are more in metallurgical business than in typical mining business. So we've never been a typical mining company. We'll be looking for vertically integrated, and I will probably later a chance to explain why, vertically integrated businesses. And Rwanda, part of course, a very stable system and very clear and ambitious programs seem to us a place to go.
That's really interesting.
And of course, we'll be looking for teams, which
of course.
It's that, so.
Of course, with the smelter as well that you have. No,
I think it was an opportunity. A smelter, we found a smelter as an opportunity since that smelter actually has never started the production. We believed we had enough competence to come and make it work. And this is what we did actually. It's already 2.5 years, more or less. But I think that we delivered, we delivered promises, at least those we've been discussing with representatives at that time.
It's interesting, and I think, as you said, we come back to this vertical integration you talked about, because we will be talking about it in our conference online about the potential that Rwanda holds in terms of becoming a hub for the region when it comes to processing, obviously, and beneficiation. I think it's a really on point a topic to engage with you.
If you like me to it was not a question, I understand, but if you like me to pick that topic now, why is it exciting for us? It's a long-term program of government of Rwanda, and I think it's absolutely brilliant approach. However, I would like, if I may, to add some sort of views which are coming from our side. So I'll be happy also to share during the conference, and then we already started to do it with partners who are interested and also looking at Rwanda. So a bit, finishing the first question and then my answer. So the stable system, stable country, clear rules. Of course, that different. I don't like to be, a cheap advocate of Rwanda. Each country
I'm one of them. Okay.
is having its own, habits and rules, etc. So you need to get used to it. Of course, sometimes people thinking they're coming and they're having a brilliant ideas because they think, they got or brought on ideas which were unknown, and they meet people and they are mostly much better educated than them, because when I met people in Rwanda, they were coming from, well-known universities in France, or universities in the United States, so those who are coming to countries like Rwanda think they can impress only by coming from Europe. That's totally wrong. So,
absolutely.
we need to bring something more and probably try to fit it into the medium and long-term programs, and probably become brave enough to, first of all, to show that you deliver, because this is very important, I think, for everyone, not only in Rwanda, not only in Africa, everywhere. You like to work with people who deliver, and then, of course, to bring your, and put your input, just to present your input. Absolutely. So what we think is, of course, the government likes Rwanda to become a hub, which is a very good idea. That is usually the problem is, how to do it. We have different countries processing also. I stick to Cassitorate as a source of team. So we have the countries around, and like Tanzania, Uganda, not to mention the DRC, of course. And this job is for Rwanda's government, and they need to work on it.
To position themselves.
Yeah. Exactly, because we're in a business, we business in those countries as well. If there is a chance, however, on a diplomatic level, and this high diplomatic level, this is where Rwanda can achieve a lot to create those opportunities within the country. Yeah. That's number one. In terms of business, we like to create this vertically integrated organization, not only to get this value chain, because it's an old economy, it does not work like this. When we speak about the social responsibility, everyone, like to have it, on the website. But the question is, what is the value? How you can, I don't like to be arrogant now, but how you like to monetize it for your investors? What investors are going to ask for in the next 10 or 15 years? So when you look at the society, and when I look at my kids, and I have them in different age, So my daughter who is 20, she's from the society X, they call them X, right? She's not millennials, as my son.
A new generation, yeah.
and they are worse than Greenpeace, So they're not going to invest in any company who is leaving a long carbon dioxide footprint, trace. And they are they're going to be, important investors in the next 10, 15 years.
Absolutely.
So traceability in terms of where the material is coming from, etc. Of course, we're working on it as well, but it's nothing new about, right?
Yeah.
We actually, I don't like to speak too much about this now, not to disclose all information, but we're working with one of the, very well-known company in order to introduce a blockchain technology to trace from the very beginning, from the very, source up to the finished products. And I'll tell you why. It's not only to call it blockchain and to be happy and to put it on the web. Because this is a value creation. This is a value creation for those miners as well, who like to keep the small licenses, who they don't have enough money to invest to elevate the level of technology. The traders or investors so far were not very keen to invest. They were helping them, of course, but rather like prepaying this and that, right? But not really helping them to elevate the technology of mining without any knowledge transfer, etc. They wanted simply to get the material and export it. I'm not trying to blame them for that.
Yeah.
But I would like to talk about what we think, what can be done. Because you cannot change it within 1 or 2 years, because the knowledge transfer is a process.
It's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, but what we can do within a reasonably short period of time, we can introduce them or plug them in. Of course, those working legally, just let me say it clearly, which is very important, of course. This is, of course, not our job as well. This, again, is a job for the government of Rwanda to secure that this business is running, from the legal perspective, for the same level for everyone, right? I can understand those considerations, because you may have someone who's got a family, like to feed them, and you know, he, from one perspective, of course, he doesn't like to commit any crimes, but on the other perspective, he likes to feed the family.
Absolutely.
So you need to give him a chance somehow. So blockchain technology is actually plugging them into the certain system, and even if they mine 200 kilos per month, so half a ton per month, of course we need to provide a certain protocols this way, not to speak too much about this, you know, and it's probably for another conference. And this is provided they work legally, they go on licenses or the other means that, you know, describe their work as legal, that we create the value because they are in the chain now.
Mm-hmm.
And they can get a certain additional income, I would say, which is coming from traceability and loyalty to that you know, chain that we're creating. I don't like to speak too much about that, but it's an economical and social concept. It's
also linked to, like, obviously Luna Smelter being the only tin smelter in the region that is conformant to the Responsible Mineral Initiative. I think it links back to what you said, and it's interesting to see what is highlighting for the country and the region by being linked with those technology and this blockchain system.
I mean, I'd probably like to say how important it is for us. I hope it's important for the region, and I hope it's important for the country. Probably it's about a question for, you know, officials in Rwanda, how they see it. I hope they see it in a positive way, and it could be taken as an example. However, the life is not static, you know. We have to face, you know, business issues, but we have our very firm and very strong ideas which we're implementing every day in our business, and they are, and of course, ambitions which are in line with the program of the government of Rwanda. So, what does it mean for us? Of course, a matter of credibility. We've been recently also, our lab is certified, so has been granted a certification. So I think this is the first lab within the factory which has been certified. We are recognized as the only one smelter in that region. I don't know if it's whole Africa, but as far as I know, yes, we are the only tin smelter. And I think it's a good sign for our business partners, the suppliers, who can benefit. Sooner or later, they will benefit from this. Why? Today, of course, I can understand those small traders or small miners that they look at the price because they're being paid by those who like to export it from Africa. But sooner or later, traceability in terms of where the material is coming from, whether we don't have any issues with children labor, etc., all those things that we call traceability so far. But when you look at the traceability and you add the variable of carbon dioxide footprint, you see a lot of material coming from Rwanda, not only, also from other African countries, from Rwanda, going somewhere far east, then being, you know, melted with other material, you know, and this traceability, you're losing it there. Yeah, but look how, what is your carbon dioxide footprint? And then you bring them, you know, finished material back somewhere to Europe or other countries, you know, and in EU, people started to look at this. In the United States, investors started to look at this even earlier because they are raising the question. The General Assembly of Apple, like it was last year, that was of course DRC, a bit different example, but where do you take your material from? Do you exactly know what is your carbon dioxide footprint, etc.? And in the end of the day, if the Apple share price drops by 0.001%, is still much higher than the price they paid for that coltan or whatever was it.
For the component, yeah, absolutely.
It's exactly what's going to happen and was happening, but slowly that's happening. And this is why those local miners, they should benefit that they supply to local smelter.
Absolutely.
And that the next step that we create this value in the country or in the region, I would say, because the other countries that are having cassiterite and Rwanda is a
and the goal is to
place
expand to the region, absolutely.
to become this hub. And there are people like Honorable Minister Francis Gattara and others who I think they are fan of it because they understand that this is where we are heading to, and whether we like or not, but the world is heading to.
And I know that it's a great ambition and vision for the region as well. What, on your perspective, what did COVID-19 change for this year in the way you did business in Rwanda, for Luna Smelter specifically? And did it delay any of the project or operation or timelines that you had?
I mean, what we have decided from the very beginning, we have actually worked very much on our cash flow, and we invested even more money since we wanted to keep that connection with what we started to have with local JVs that we started to have with local miners, with people we felt responsible for working on our licenses that we are the exploration licenses that are not mining licenses. However, we need to work there, and of course we don't like to stop. So without the smelter was halted actually, so we stopped operations for a certain period of time. But we capped our chain of suppliers, and we told them, listen, we have a reasonable long-term partner for you. Don't worry, you can bring here whatever you have, 50 kilos or 200, bring it and we'll pay you. And this is what we've been doing. We're collecting the stock of cassiterite just in order, because we know the traders again, just in order to keep those relations we'll be working on and ensure those partners and people that they have a reliable partner in Rwanda, and any day they can come and see what's going on here in place.
That's good. And I know I think it was mentioned because you have also a really good team in Rwanda itself that can ensure the continuity of what you're doing. Some other international, I would say, exploration company have struggled more because they realized that their presence, obviously, in the development of the team in territories was not ideal sometimes. So I think Luna has invested a lot as well in the local team, and it's also a part of the success story, I guess.
I mean, that's the it's not only Luna Smelter, it's the culture of our organization, Luna Holding. First of all, we have identified really a number of very, very good skilled people. Some of them wanted to continue their education, so we were helping them organizing their PhD in Poland, or we're trying to, sponsor them. But again, we have also identified those who are very well educated abroad and in Rwanda, being Rwandese. Like we have a woman who is in our chemical lab and very well educated. We have others who, now when I think about the metallurgical processes, of course, the metallurgical business has not existed to that extent, in Rwanda before. Still business is present, but not typical metallurgical business, so it's a bit different. But we have, identified really many good local people who are very open to learn. And of course, I don't like to hide that we had some changes sometimes. Someone Peter organs are not. That's life, of course. But I have to say that we have a pretty positive and very good impression because as everywhere, you always find people who likes to do something, who are eager to do something. And I found, and actually I'm happy, and I think we're happy at Luna Smelter that we have an organization of, which is composed mostly by local people, and they are few from our country, are very, very ambitious. What is funny is that I have more people now in Poland who like to live in Rwanda than Rwandese who like to live in Poland. That's understandable, having respect the temperature, etc.
Yeah, that's an attractive place to be.
Yeah, there's still a big secret, I think. So probably I don't like to disclose all information. But we have another expert who said, "Oh yeah, I like to live there, and I like to move there." So, and there's actually an ongoing process now. So I think this is good.
It's encouraging, absolutely, absolutely. We have 5 minutes left, and I really want to ask you that question because I think you have a great insight on that. For any other exploration company or junior that actually are looking at Rwanda or any other country in Africa, what would you advise them? Like, what would be the don't and the do to consider for them? If you had one advice
very shortly. Again, I'll probably mention one thing. Speaking about Rwanda, I cannot speak about all Africa because, again, you need to study the country you like to go to, environment, etc. At least, to understand it, it takes a lot of time, but at least try to do it. Don't think that you are the brightest and the most intelligent person. Go see people, and you will understand that they are probably better educated than you are. So rather bring and think your brightest ideas, try to confront them, and be patient. I mean, work hard and be patient. And when you patiently work hard, regardless where we are, I think people sooner or later are trying to notice it. They might not always appreciate it, but it's I think it's everywhere is like that. Be patient. Try to rather convince people that you deliver, rather than you're trying to find a relation, connections, who knows whom. It's always important. We always like to know the environment we work in. That's normal. But I think be patient enough that and try to deliver, and this is the way probably to find the recognition and support. I'm not trying to say this.
No, but I agree with you. I agree with what you just mentioned of like, don't think you're smarter because you're arriving from a developed country. And I think it's a really fair point.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, and it's about getting the trust of the people that you're going to work with on the long run. So
yeah, this is what I said. I mean, the first day, I met a guy from Colombia. The other guy is CFA. The other that, so you really, I mean, I've never met so many people in one room. During my first days, in Poland. So, and not to offend anyone in Poland, simply. Of course. That's.
Thank you so much, Professor, for that insight. I honestly really enjoyed our conversation today, and for our audience that are watching us, obviously you can catch up with Luna Smelter because they are one of our main sponsors for this event on the 16th and 20th of November, and we're looking forward for 2 sessions with them, one on beneficiation and one on blockchain. So we're really excited to see you there. Thank you again, Professor, for today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Stay safe. Thank you, and see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.